live webinars on air. Oh, and so we're there. Sawadee Krap. I'm Stuart J. Raj. Welcome to where this at number 7, Thai Bites live webinar on air. Free webinar with all these fantastic Thai lessons that are over and above what we even go over in the course. Now I can see now everybody's coming in, so welcome everybody who's already logged in. It's great to see hundreds of people coming into these webinars over the week. Today we're looking at Thai particles, and I called this the Thai Particle Accelerator. Now, you know, it could be possible to speak grammatically correct Thai and be able to communicate your meaning. That doesn't mean necessarily that a Thai is going to feel naturally or even understand what you're saying. Why? Because it doesn't have that normal rhythm that the Thais would have when they're speaking. So according to the book, your Thai might be correct, but to the Thai ear, it's not feeling natural. Why isn't it feeling natural? Well, we went through pronouns last week, and another element is particles. Now, particles are fundamental just to even uttering the slightest sentence in Thai. And today we're going to be going through several of them. Now, I want to cover, I'll just share my screen with you now. Okay, so you should be able to see the screen now. The Thai particles, now because we don't have enough time to cover all of them, for those who got the sheet, the PDF sheet already, you would have seen over 22 particles that I wrote down there, and even on the video. But to the prep video today, I just want to look at these we write in English Na particles, because there's a whole cosmos in those particles alone. And if we get time, I might go in later on to the da kind of particles, but we're going to focus on these na particles. So by the end of this lesson today, you're going to know how to use all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 particles. So I'll just say them. Na, no, no, nak, na. Got it? I'll just say them once again. Say them with me. Na, no, no, nak, na. Got it? Now, for those of you who read them, you can see the tones in the writing. For those who can't read yet, I've got the tones there on IPA. So let's go into the base na particle. This is where it's all founded on. This particle is basically like a tag saying, am I right? So if I said, supposing I wanted to say something like, I want this one, nah, that has, or am I right, or you know, so I want this one, you know, and the anticipated answer, even if the person doesn't say it out loud, would be, oh yeah, because you kind of assume that they know, and you're asking, so it's like, I want this one, you know, or right, or okay, and you're anticipating that they're going to kind of agree with you or know what you're talking about. So here I've translated it into Thai. ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ So if I just break this down, get my pen here, and we have this base sentence. I'll turn my pen on. Okay, so this base sentence here, I'll get rid of that. ผมอยากได้อันนี้ 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 I want this one. Now that's what that base sentence means here. But then the na at the end. ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ I want this one นะ This has several meanings, and it depends on the context. It means I want this one, okay? So supposing I was out with my girlfriend and we were looking at a bunch of stuff, and I pointed to something and I said, ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ I want to get this one, okay? Depending on the context, it could be, okay, I found the one that I want to buy. It could mean, ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ this is the one that I want, and I'm insinuating that I would like maybe her to buy it for me or somebody to get it for me or somehow have it. ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ it's putting the onus back on the other person. So you remember, this is the one I want, right? Or this is the one I want. Don't forget. All of those meanings are embedded in this little particle na at the end. In Japanese, you have the same particle is ne. So, so ne. In Japanese, exactly the same particle. Okay, so we have this na base particle. Let me say that once again and see if you can say it after me. ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ ผมอยากได้อันนี้นะ I want this one. Supposing I wanted to say I'm going to go now, I'll just write this here. ผมจะไปแล้ว Okay, so ผมจะ low turn ไปแล้ว I'm going, and then the lao is already tagged onto the end. So I'm going, but if I said ผมจะไปแล้วนะ ผมจะไปแล้วนะ it could be giving them the hurry on. So okay, it's time for me to go. Or ผมจะไปแล้วนะ prepare yourself because I'll be going now. Or ผมจะไปแล้วนะ okay, I think I'm going to be off now. It softens it. Okay, so all of those meanings can be embedded in the na particle. Basically, it's like saying you know or okay in English. Got it? Now let's move on to the next particle then. Okay, so here we're still using na by itself. Sometimes you'll hear the na particle used by itself. So tomorrow is my birthday. พรุ่งนี้เป็นวันเกิด พรุ่งนี้เป็นวันเกิด Tomorrow is my birthday. พรุ่งนี้เป็นวันเกิด Notice how I don't need to say ของผม of mine. I just say พรุ่งนี้เป็นวันเกิด tomorrow birthday. And so my girlfriend says, oh, nah. The fact that I just say na at the end means right, don't forget. It's throwing it back, and we both have a mutual understanding of what I expect now that that person knows that it's my birthday. All of that embedded in this na particle. So tomorrow is my birthday. Oh, nah. That could mean don't forget. Or it could mean I'm expecting something. Or anything else that you would basically throw back. So tomorrow's my birthday, really? That's the kind of feeling when you're throwing it back on them. So this is the na particle heard by itself. Now let's have a look now on this next slide here. Sometimes you'll hear this na stretched out. Now we've taken from this short vowel here, na ไม่หันอากาศ sorry, สระอะ to na. You see the maitri giving it a high tone. Okay, so na, it's stretched out with a long vowel, and basically it's the same meaning as na, but it's more of this sickly sweet. So na, and it kind of sounds a little bit more feminine. You'll probably hear girls saying this more than guys. So na, you know, it's like sort of nudge, wink. Or sort of digging the elbow into somebody. Nah. And that could be used by yourself. Or พรุ่งนี้เป็นวันเกิดนะ Tomorrow's my birthday. Nah. It's just stretching and emphasizing that meaning. Okay, so na, the normal particle, na, stretched out. That's not to be confused with no. Now notice that this is the vowel or ang. It's not o. Okay, it's not an o sound. It's no. And these sounds actually come from Cambodian, but no. Their children, no. aren't they? They're children, no. So it's like saying, oh, they're only kids. You understand what it's like to be kids. So isn't it so? Is the general meaning. So ก็เขาเป็นเด็กเนาะ they're only kids. We should expect that. And then from no, we have this extended meaning then. Well, we have a shortened no. They're kids, no. It's like saying, oh, remember back when we were kids. They're just kids. So เขาเป็นเด็กเขา that's with a rising tone เป็นเด็ก low tone. So เขาเป็นเด็ก they are kids, or he or she is a kid. So but then if I put เขาเป็นเด็ก no, at the end, no, the high tone, it's like saying, oh, they're only kids. And it's inferring, you know what it's like to be kids, or you know what kids are like. Okay. So you can see this, there's a slight difference between no and na. Na is like, you know, but this, they're kids. You know what it's like being kids. You empathize with their plight. And then this no, you can hear another variation where the here turns into an no, no. So I'll give you a practical example of when it's used. In Thailand right now, it's so hot. And suppose somebody just said, oh, วันนี้อากาศร้อนมาก I could just answer that and say, no, วันนี้อากาศร้อนมาก Today, the temperature is very hot. ร้อนมาก วันนี้อากาศร้อนมาก No could be the response saying, yeah, I agree with you. I know what it's like. It's I empathize with you. It's so hot. Okay. วันนี้อากาศร้อน but now watch the difference. Actually, let me write this down here. Today, the weather is good. วันนี้อากาศดี You might hear that from the glossica. วันนี้อากาศดี วันนี้อากาศดีนะ If I said na at the end, so today the weather is good, na. So you know what I'm expecting, that the weather is good. Maybe it's time that you go out and wash the car. วันนี้อากาศดีนะ It's not raining anymore, so you should be outside. But if I said วันนี้อากาศดีเนาะ It's like saying, oh, wow, the weather's so good today, isn't it? That's this, isn't it so? And then the response could just be, no, yeah, it is. Got it? Okay. Let's move on to the next nat kind of particle, and this is nat. Now, sometimes this is misused by people, but the way what nat really means is a lot, many, mากๆ. So วันนี้ร้อน today is hot. So วันนี้ร้อนนัก today is so hot. Today is very hot. So this nat particle by itself can mean very. Now that's not to be mistaken by this nat, like in the wordนักเรียน okay, this is นักเรียน นักเรียน, a student. So a nat is somebody who does something, and that actually comes from Cambodian, from the word nye. So nye rian, nak rian. But this is a different particle. This is a word that's tagged onto the end to mean so much. วันนี้อากาศร้อนนัก Today is so hot. คนนั้นอ้วนนัก That person is so fat. So we have nak meaning very or a lot. Now, finally, let's move on to this last particle as we close off these na particles. Na with a long falling tone. I'm going to write this falling tone in here so you remember that. Na is like saying it's worth doing or able in English. So, pai means to go. Na pai, worth going. You really should go. Gin means to eat. Na gin, worth eating or delicious. Tam means to do or to make. Na tam, it's worth making or it's worth doing. Te, te means to hit. So na te means worth hitting or hittable, or that guy just needs a good smack. However, nati is actually gets idiomatic usage in Thai. So if you see a really cute baby, oh, natiเลย. Nati, it means they're so cute. They're man kiao. They're so cute. You just want to. So nati, worth hitting or smacking. And I normally say when the kids are getting into, say, the terrible twos and they're doing kid stuff, ก็เป็นเด็กเนาะ nati เนาะ Yeah, they're really naughty. They're worth giving a good smack. But it's said light-heartedly, meaning kind of they're so cute, or they're at that stage where they're just being naughty, trying the parents' temper. And then finally, I've just put one in here. Top. Top means to slap somebody's face. So na top, worth slapping, or that guy or that girl that really deserves a smack in the face. Na top ding ding. Okay, so I'll say this. Na pai, worth going. You really should go. Na kin, worth eating. It's delicious. You really should eat it. Na tam, worth doing or worth making. You really should try it. Na te, worth hitting or worth smacking, but it has that idiomatic sense of, oh, they're at that really naughty, cute stage. Na to, worth slapping, or that guy or girl really deserves a slap across the face. And then this na is used in a common, finally, a common idiom. Na ta is this modal verb to do in the future or going to. So na ta is a verb meaning you should. You should. Na ta pai, you really should go. Na ta. So let's just recap finally, and then I'll go into your questions. We have na, the base particle, where you're kind of throwing it back on them, okay, or all right, or you're inferring that they should know what you mean, whatever it is you're talking about, similar to the Japanese particle ne. Then you can just use na by itself, and it will embody that meaning in it. You don't need to say the full sentence before it. Sometimes na is stretched out, and it becomes na, but you'll hear girls say this a lot. So I don't have any money left in my wallet. Nah means, so can you give me some? Then you have this other similar sounding one, no,เป็นเด็ก no. So they're only children, isn't it so? You remember what it's like. And then that can be simplified to no, เป็นเด็ก no. They're just kids. Or เขาเป็นเด็ก no. Or today the weather is good, no. Today the weather's so good, isn't it? And you can just respond, no, or no. No is a little bit more colloquial. No, still colloquial, but you hear it a lot. And then final, second to last, we had the nak, meaning very. วันนี้ร้อนนัก. Today the weather is so hot. Nak means like so. And then finally that worth doing. So na pai, worth going. Na kin, na tam, na ti, na to. So there you go. So many particles in the practice sheet. We had like over 22, but I've just included a handful of them there. It's time now to go to question and answer, my favorite time of these webinars. But before we do, let me just mention, I am very, very excited here. If I click in here now, have a look at this. We have the travel Thai combo for beginners. And when I click in there, so this is at a price point for some people that don't feel just ready to get the whole cracking Thai fundamentals combo yet. We've put a Thai combo for travelers or people just coming to Thailand. And what I've done, we have preparing to crack the fundamentals. We have Glossika's Thai Fluency 1 to get you speaking the language, sent through, it's actually spaced repetition. We have the Glossika mass sentences, so you can go through the mass sentences by themselves in order. And we have Thai Bites Travel Edition. Now in these Thai Bites Travel Editions, you can see as I scroll down, I've actually chosen all of these Thai bites, there's a whole lot of them that have to do, that basically are there for the beginners. If you've never touched Thai before, you go through these Thai bites and you're going to go out with a depth of knowledge of the culture and general usage of just basic everyday language that you would have never got anywhere else. So we've put a price of $69 on that package. But if I come in here, let me just come into, I'll turn the sharing off again. Now, if you would go and have a look now on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see that enter the webinar code just for the people coming into this webinar. If you put webinar 250415 into the coupon code there, you will get that combo pack for $42. So $42, you get the Preparing to Crack Thai Fundamentals from Cracking Thai Fundamentals. You get all those Thai bites. You get Glossica Space Repetition GSR Thai Fluency 1 and Glossica Mass Sentences Thai Fluency 1, all for $42. That's amazing. So anyway, I'm going to leave that up there, and I can see so many questions coming in, and in the comments section, questions here. I'm going to open up for questions now. Why isn't this turning on? In the meantime, while I'm trying to, okay, so the question section is open and ready. Let me hand it over to the floor. While I'm waiting for a couple of questions to come in, and I sip on my water, let me just go back quickly, and I'll just briefly, I won't go into too much detail, but I hear a lot of people, they like to use the word, I hear a lot of people, they like to use the word da in their sentences. Na da, mani da, here you go da. Okay, we're just having some issues when we try and enable the question and answer. So maybe in this question and answer, if you could put your, let's see there, okay, question and answer should be up now. So you can go in and ask your questions there now. Sorry, it wasn't open from earlier. Okay, now it's working. Question and answer is working, I can confirm. So while you're getting your questions in there, let me just jump to this da particle. There are three main da particles. Let me say it with me, and I'll get my pen here. Ready? Da, da, da. Say it once more. Da, da, da. These three da particles, you'll hear this first one. It's actually a cute version of krap or ka. Now, you can often throw na in just before it. So, ผมไม่อยากได้อันนี้ I don't want this one นะจ๊ะ I don't want this one นะครับ would be the proper men's way of saying something. But if I said ผมไม่อยากได้อันนี้นะจ๊ะ if I was a guy, I'd probably only be speaking to my girlfriend or some girl that I'm trying to flirt with. Okay? Or there's some other, if you're in a really high position, you might say it to the people below you or your look nong. But basically, you'll hear da used a lot more by females. It has more of a feminine ring. Until you really get the hang, there are some ways, sometimes that guys would use it. But if you're a guy, just try and avoid this one more, unless it's with a girl you're flirting with or your girlfriend. Na da. It sounds a bit เจ้าชู้ Da. Again, it's like the feminine ka, ka, da. If you're a guy and you're using this da instead of a krap, it could again have some feminine undertones or overtones, whatever that is. But sometimes you could say da, 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 da if it's in a hurry, da, da. But it's less polite. If a guy is saying it, I would encourage you to say krap more or kap more. If you're a girl, you can say da, 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 and it sounds a little bit better. And then finally, this da with a rising tone. Okay, so this is a high tone for the da. This is a falling tone for the da, and then a rising tone da. Da is normally an affectionate particle used for somebody familiar. So if I said to my girlfriend, Gam ta, it would be an affectionate particle, but she would be thinking also, okay, what does he want now? Okay, and or you might hear somebody, some younger girl saying somewhat to some guy that's old enough to be her uncle or her dad, "Bata, bata," and you might hear that in a lot of places around Thailand. I don't know. Go and start listening. But anyway, let me get back. I'll close my screen off, and we'll get to your questions. I trust there are questions coming in now. Whoa! Look at that. The questions are full now. Is there a time where using these would be impolite? Let me go back then to the na particles here. The question was, is there a time where these particles would be impolite? Na, no. Unless you were saying it with an impolite meaning. So, ไปเดี๋ยวนี้ go now. ไปเดี๋ยวนี้นะ you better go right now. Nah, okay. Otherwise, you know what's in store. So it depends on the mood of the sentence, but nah, basically think of it as tofu. It will take on the flavor of the sentence. Okay? Nah is your tofu particle. Not toe jam. Toe jam is always negative. Trust me. But tofu, it takes on the positive or negative. Again, this nah. So supposing I said, I need to go in 10 minutes. Nah, nah. The more nahs I say, well, then it gets more negative because I'm giving them the hurry up. I'm giving them the hurry up, telling them to get a move on. Nah. So again, it's taken on that mood of the sentence. So it depends how you want to use it. Again, no. It sounds nice. Now, it depends how, even in a professional presentation, you could say, today we are better off than what we were 20 years ago. วันนี้ชีวิตของเราดีกว่า 20 ปีก่อน No? No? Isn't it? You could say that. That sounds perfectly fine. It's not rude. Or no? That sounds fine. You probably wouldn't write it though in an article. If you're actually writing, you would use this written form here. No. Okay, and then final, and again with the nak, it's more of a spoken particle. วันนี้ร้อนมากนัก but you could write it as well. Nah, that's just a normal particle in Thai. And then these da, again, da would be less polite and you wouldn't use it in more formal situations. I hope that has answered your question for these particles. Let me go to another. Okay, there's a question. Does Chinese have particles as well? Yes, Chinese is full of particles. For example, if you speak Chinese, you just know that no. 你好, 你好. If you, I'll say, 这个怎么样? How is this? 不错, it's not bad. 这个呢? 这个呢? And how about this one? That ne is another particle. In Thai, that ne, by the way, in Chinese, 这个呢, you would say, แล้วตัวนี้ล่ะ ละ ne in Chinese is ละ in Thai. That's another particle for you. ละ la or ลอลิง สระอะไม่เอก ละ la falling tone. Okay, next question. When will you move into larger languages? Thank you. We're going to be launching Chinese this week. We're going to be launching Chinese. And not only that, we're launching the other way around too. So we'll be learning English for Chinese speakers, learning English for Thai speakers as well. Hopefully getting Spanish in soon. So we're going to be going into a lot more languages. But not only that, we're going into a lot more subjects as well. So if I share my screen with you here, and we just go in, or you can just go in and have a look at yourself at JakeAdamcom. I'll pull it up here. Let me actually expand our lovely responsive design. And if I click on JakeAdamcom here, you will see that there's all these new courses started to pop up. And we have courses now in finance as well. We're going to be getting courses that are not selling just to the public, but we've got courses that work for your company as well. So basically, JakeAdemy is all coming to fruition, but here we have we'll be having these for Chinese. Here we have 12 Steps to Your Financial Independence by Andrew Stotts. We just ran a webinar on that the other night. So all these new courses and new languages will be coming in. You'll be able to see them in the next few weeks. Thanks for that question. Let me go back to the webinar now. There we are. Next question. I hear people say ta'e to children. What does this mean? Very good question. Ta'e. Now you also hear ta'e used as a very common girl's name as well. Ta'e. What it literally means is peekaboo ta'e. So when you're speaking with, when you're playing with kids, you'll probably go like that and say ta'e. Ta'e. So ta'e, and my camera has gone out of focus, but that's the motion of ta'e, peekaboo. Now, a way that you can use the term ta'e is if I was driving down the street and all of a sudden a policeman decided to ta'e on me. That would mean all of a sudden a policeman just came out of nowhere. So, กำลังขับรถอยู่แล้วอยู่ดีๆตำรวจมาta'e. A policeman, that's more colloquial, but the policeman just popped out of nowhere. Ta'e. Great question. How do you reconcile the tone mark that makes that na with a short being expressed as a long vowel? Okay. Let me just, I'm just going to touch on this briefly for those people who know how to read. Let me come into this here, and I'll just touch up here to all my particles. Okay, let's have a look briefly at the tones for those people that are in here. So this is, notice if in IPA I've put a colon, that means a long vowel. So this is a, okay. If I'm looking in IPA, na, short vowel, low class, high tone. Okay, na, na. Now remember this, Maitri is an artificial tone forcer. It gives it an artificial high tone because I've used this sala falling off the edge, long vowel. This is an o, so it's a short vowel. Short vowel, no. Sorry, high tone. So because it's low class short vowel, which is a high tone, no, low class short vowel, high tone, and you'll get all of this in Cracking Thai Fundamentals. Nak, short vowel, low class, short dead, nak, high tone, na, mai ek. So mai ek, this is the mai ek #1 tone marker. So if I've got this low class N with mai ek on it, it makes it falling in Central Thai. So basically, the tone markers give the tones. There is nothing. There's nothing irregular about it. That's very regular in those. I think that was. I hope that answers the question. Let me go to another question here. Is it possible or advisable to slow down the speech of the Glossika material? I've seen actually discussions on this. If you go and you're doing the Glossika mass sentences, and we were thinking, should we do this? And there's discussion going both ways. Mike believes start listening to it at the normal speed. And after listening to it after a while, you start to get used to it, because the whole key to the GSR, I'm talking about GSR, how fast it is as they come on. I think Mike's put them there. You don't have to say them straight after. It's just to start getting used to them, hearing them at normal speeds. I take your point though, and we'll talk to Mike. We might be able to put something where you can change the speed in the interval in between them. But I think the general reason why on the Glossika courses, why the space is so short, is to start getting it into your subconscious, and you're just hearing the language at normal speed. Okay, let me go to another question. By the way, don't forget, we have this offer. So basically, if you enter the webinar code, webinar 250415, you're going to be able to get the brand new travel tie pack for from JakeAdamcom. Now I'm frozen up again there. I hope it's up there. So I'll just say that again, webinar 250415, and you'll be able to get the brand new travel tie combo, which includes sections from cracking tie fundamentals, preparing to crack the fundamentals. You get Glossica tie fluency, GSR, Glossica tie fluency 1, GMS, and you get a whole bunch of tie bites that I've hand chosen and put it all together for people who just want to get everything that they can. We're hitting the ground running either as a tourist or fresh off the boat here in Thailand where you don't think you're ready for the full cracking tie fundamentals package. So go in, have a look at that. I know you're going to like it. Have a look at some of the tie bites I put in there. They're really, really cool. And everything from sawadee, weighing in Thai, counting in Thai, all the stuff you need to hit the ground running in Thai. And did I say it's $42? That's so cheap with that code. Normally $69. Some of my close, there's a question here. Some of my close Thai friends double na, for example, ao na na. That was probably na. That was what I was mentioning before. If somebody's wanting to sort of give you the hurry up, na, or say you know. You'll hear females saying this more than males, doubling up the na. But yes, let me go to another. Okay, what is ja? This is an interesting one. Okay, let me come back to here. We have the question, what is ja? I will share my screen again and come back to my jars. In 2 weeks' time, by the way, we're going to be doing a webinar on Cambodian language hacks or Khmer language hacks and how to use these little tweaks from Cambodian or Khmer, and it will just give bang. It's like putting your Thai on steroids because it's actually, you know, it's this one whole heart of the Thai language that's used every day, these Cambodian hacks. This is, I'm going to show you today how much Cambodian is there. So this da in Thai is Jordan middle class, Maito falling tone, da. So when we say that, now you know in Thai we have this word ding. And I'll write it here, ding. It's pronounced ding. Okay, that's a non-aspirated C, ding. Notice how this r isn't there. So why is it there? Well, actually that ding, from all of the studies I have done, has actually come from the Chinese word. If in Mandarin, it is dun, really, truly. Okay, why is it spelt with this r in it? So if I was to do a one-for-one, that's j, r with a sala I and a ng. String, jing. It's because this j-r is a very common Cambodian structure, and you'll see in a lot of spellings that have come across from Cambodian. And in the Thai subconscious, it's thought as almost what's the word in English? A higher class or a higher status way of spelling, putting that extra ra in. So you'll see Thais, especially Thai kids, when they write da, they will write it like this, jo, ro, a, da, but it's actually just the same as this one here, da, because the word, and again, it's just taking this Cambodian influence, thinking it's making it prettier, but it actually is not. It's kind of similar to the phenomenon that you get in English. Have you ever heard a newsreader use get me and I mixed up? So they will say, he gave the present, or he gave the money to his friend and I, where really it should be he gave his money to his friend and me, but they think that I sounds higher, so they'll say I, but it's actually wrong. Same principle. They put the ra in there because they think it sounds higher, but it's actually not correct. Let me go to another question. Okay, I hear ba a lot. I'm not sure whether this is a particle. Good particle. Let me come back and open a new screen for you. And this is a particle that you can use all the time in spoken Thai, but do not use it in written Thai unless you're writing just like in text messages or on the internet. So I'm going to write here, pa. Okay, so this is pa with a low tone. What it means is not. I actually have a Thai bite on this if you're in there, but here we go. You know this word, หรือ with a rising tone, or เปล่า หรือเปล่า เปล่า. And by the way, I'll just tell you now, now most Falang, when they're speaking Thai, if they're wanting to say the word no, they will use the word mai. Okay, so are you going to go to, will you be here tomorrow? And the Falang might say, mai, I'm not going to be there. That's okay, but you'll actually hear more Thai say, plau, plau, not. Plau. So start getting into the habit of using plau even more than mai if it's for this not. Now, หรือเปล่า or not. หรือเปล่า หรือเปล่า. Watch what happens. Well, I'll do it in IPA. หรือเปล่า. That's long, becomes หรือ short, เปล่า, because we lose the L. And then all of a sudden the r gets cut off and you're just left with pao. So sometimes we'll just say pao or pa finally. And these are all with low tones, rising, low. So actually, when you say rupao, it's said with a high tone, which is not regular. So พรุ่งนี้อยู่หรือเปล่า? Tomorrow, are you here or not? พรุ่งนี้อยู่หรือเปล่า? Are you going to be here tomorrow or not? พรุ่งนี้อยู่ปะ? Are you going to be here or not tomorrow? So that pa in normal spoken Thai is a particle basically meaning or not, which is a contraction of หรือเปล่า, the full form. So do you want to eat this or not? อยากกินนี้ปะ? Instead of อยากกินอันนี้หรือเปล่า? อยากกินนี้ปะ? Got it? So this pa is a contraction from หรือเปล่า meaning or not. Great. Let's have a look at some more questions in there. There's so many questions coming in. Okay. Could you please give some examples of how to use bap? It seems like a good filler word, or pausing and pondering. Yes. Okay. So the word bap, let me write it for you here. Bap, again, is a Khmer word. It comes from the lovely country right next to Thailand that everybody loves. And so this word here, bap, long vowel, low tone, bap, literally means a type. What happened to my pad there? A type or a kind of, or a sort. You get them. You get the in Chinese it would be จง. Okay. So bap, bap, bap. So it's like saying kind of, like, actually, like you hear these Californian girls, and he like said like, you know, like I really didn't know what was going on, like, and this like exactly the same thing. So bap, and so often you'll actually hear the word bap wa. I'll just write it here. Bap wa. Bap wa. Falling tone. Wa from the word wa, to say or kind of, so kind of to say. So if I was to say that same thing, แล้วเขาแบบว่าเขาอยากจะแบบว่ามาพรุ่งนี้แบบว่าแต่ แบบว่าไม่รู้แบบว่าจะพูดยังไงแบบว่าก็หงุดหงิด because this really makes me hungry. You get the feel. It's like saying like, and it is a filler word. There are many filler words in Thai, and actually it's a bad habit. But if you want to start making your Thai sound more Thai, put some of these filler words. Another filler word that Thais will always use, and it's got a particle in, is อะไรอย่างเงี้ย which อะไรอย่าง and I've got yang, it's really yang ni, but it gets in spoken, it's yang nya, อะไรเงี้ยอะไรเงี้ย and I went down to the shops, อะไรเงี้ย so it's like saying, you know, I kind of went down to the shops. And you'll even hear Thais when they're speaking English, they will translate word from word this particle nya or อะไรเงี้ย into English as something like this. They literally something that's อะไรอย่าง like เงี้ย this. So you'll hear Thais speaking English, giving a presentation, translating their filler words with those particles back into English. So instead of saying แล้วเขาอะไรอย่างเงี้ยเขาอยากจะอะไรอย่างเงี้ย and when they speak English, so yesterday I went something like this, and then I didn't know what to do, something like this, and so then I just went and said, hey, could you get out of there, something like this, and they will translate it back into English, the อะไรอย่างเงี้ย. You can see those particles there. Okay, let's get back to the questions. I feel like these kind of particles are in many languages. In Dutch we say, is it he, and in Canadian English we also say e. Yeah, that's right. Every language has particles. The difference in Thai, some of these are fundamental, they give grammatical weight to your sentence, and they're put on there. And because Thai is built on syllabic blocks like that, the original TAI languages, in languages like Chinese and in all of these, like Burmese, the particles are amazing. The whole thing is like putting Lego together to give these nth degree of meanings through your particles. So your particles take on a huge role in the language, where maybe in English or Dutch, yeah, you've got them in there, but not as much. But it does change the meaning, certainly. I would agree with you. Okay, we have a question. One Thai and you repeatedly said man when they're thinking manคือว่า. Yep, that's another filler particle. Not a particle. That's what happens when you've had too much curry. A filler particle is when like that แบบว่า. So man, it's like saying it's, because man literally means it's kind of like it's man. Another one คือว่า. What I mean to say, คือ is the verb just the same as ben is. So คือว่า. I don't really know how to say this, but คือว่า, it's really that คือว่า is another filler word saying what I'm trying to say is. Okay, let me go back and have a look at some questions here. By the way, we've only got about 9 minutes left, but don't forget that offer that we have. And as I've pressed that offer, we've gone into a hang, but it's really exciting to see these packages coming together. And what you're seeing in this Thai travel pack, by the way, we're going to be having them across the board in all different languages. We're in the process now, a very exciting process of creating a Chinese version of CTF, so cracking Thai fundamentals for Chinese, which will be out. But let me hit it again. Okay, we have a very testy system. But put that webinar code in 250415 and you can get this new travel pack for $42 rather than $69. And it's including Glossica, Cracking Thai Fundamentals modules, and the Thai Bites. Really cool Thai Bites. I went through and hand selected them for you. So you should see that up there now. Let me go back and check the questions here. Okay, here we go. You just mentioned la. I've used this form of question asking my daughters, where's mum? Mela. But also on the end of questions to make it known the answer is definitely required. Is that the correct use of the particle? Yeah, you spot on. So the question is, so is la basically to ask for more information? Yes. So let me open a new page here and find out where I've put my special magic pen. Here it is, camouflage. So the particle there, la. So if I said, and basically it means, and what about, ... the IPA is la. Short, notice it's short, but it's falling tone. La, la. So if I said, how's your dad? He's well. Lao man. La. So I just write it in there. Lao, high tone, man. Falling tone, long vowel, la. Falling short, so lao man la. And what about mum? Okay. You could use it when you're going to the market. So if you you said, oh, ตัวนี้เท่าไหร่? How much is this one? 50 บาท 50 บาท ตัวนี้ล่ะ What about this one? 20 บาท ถ้างั้นเอาตัวนี้ If that's the case, I want this one. Don't mix this la up with the particle, and I'll put it on here, la. And that's with a low tone, la. So I can say, ni la, ni la. So ni, this, la, with a low tone, ni la means this is the one. So this is an emphatic particle. Emphatic particle. And you'll often hear Thai say, nan la, nan la. See, I told you so. Nan la, nan la. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so don't mix up la with la. That's la, la. Lao me la. What about mom? And or if I said, who left all of their clothes spread over the bathroom? Mela. Mum did it. That's a very different meaning to mela. Okay, and what about your mum? Mela. Mum's the one who did it. Got it? Okay. What's the time? We've got a couple of minutes left. Probably enough time to answer one or two final questions. These are really amazing questions coming in here. Qiao, qiao, ni qia. Yeah, there's a particle, qiao. It's like saying, ah, ha, ha, ha. That's what the qiao particle means. Sometimes you can't put a word in English. Qiao, ni qiao. This one over here, ah, ha, 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 qiao. And you sometimes hear qiao said faster, like chia, chia. Okay. Here's another question. I live in Thailand. Can I make a bank deposit to pay for your courses? That wasn't a particle question, but the particles will be coming into the bank account. So dialect. If you just send an email to info@JakeAdamcom, and I'm sure we can work something out for you. Just drop us an email. Right now we have it all set up with PayPal, but you should be able to do it on that. We have 2 minutes left. Don't forget, you've got until tomorrow. What night was I going to say? Tuesday night. So we're putting on. Is that the night that I said for there? Yes, Tuesday night, 11:59 to get the travel combo at $42 with that code. So don't miss out. I see people have actually started to go in and buy already. Thank you. It's a really, really, really valuable package and really cheap. So go in and get it. Let me have a look at another question in there. How true is it that the longer the sentence, the more polite it is? Yes. Okay, what a really good way to end this webinar. A lot of people from the West, and this is going to be a little controversial, but females in particular who have been used to fighting in the male arena, in the business arena, all of a sudden having to come in and "Sawadee ka." Now I'm telling you, like, and I've been teaching my cracking Thai fundamentals since year 2000, and every time there's, you know, some people really grinds them to stretch these sickly sweet particles out at the end. Ha, ha. Especially for the ladies, but it's true. The longer the particle, it's going to give this more polite and sweet sound to your voice, which is power in Thai. Sawadee ka. Where in the West, and this is an interesting cultural thing, where in the West, where you show this power, whether it's female or male, will get you ahead. In Thai, it's bang, chances are it might just drop a door in front of you or a brick wall in front of you because you haven't opened that door through the politeness. Now in Thai, a good leader, rather than ha, ha, they would have this gentle politeness to the way they speak, and you'll be judged by the way you speak. And then, so a good leader, whether male or female, would make their voice soft, would maybe stretch these particles out and make it friendly. Because remember, a leader in Thai, they need to have both pradet and prakun. Pradet is the stick, but prakun is the fatherly love to liang and look after the people. There's this balance. If you just use the ka or the shortened particles and make them sound too abrupt, sounds like too much pradet, and you close the doors. So mix this pradet, prakun, stretching them out gives you more prakun, or gives you more grace when you're speaking. Great point. Okay, we're right on 6 o'clock there. Particles in Thai. The thing to really take home from this webinar is that you can speak grammatically correct Thai without particles, but it might not sound natural to the Thai ear. Start using these particles and start peppering meaning over your sentences and giving meta meanings, and you'll be sounding more and more Thai as you're speaking with Thais, and you'll be getting less confused looks as you speak Thai to Thais. This was Thai Bites Live webinar. Stay tuned next week, Taxi Thai, the real Taxi Thai. I'll see you at the same time. We'll send the link. Sorry for some of the technical problems we've had this past week. We'll get them fixed up this week. I'm Stuart J. Raj, Thai Bites Live. I'll see you next week. Sawadee krap.